3.
What? One hand tied behind my back, man.
Bro, if I lose this one, I have no right to call this man trash garbage ever, ever, ever.
Oh my goodness!
I'm banned from calling cash and using trash in the same sentence.
Let's do 7. Number 1.
Let's get it.
Trash, nigga.
I thought the game was the 7. I thought the game was the 7. He cheated, bro. Rematch.
He literally dented the top of my head like he hit the top of my head. This is a foul call.
Hell no! Come on, Flood. Yes, sir. What you mean?
Hey, whoa!
Bro, I got like elbowed like 2 times, didn't even say nothing.
Bro, we not doing that, Flight. I got a rep just for the excuses, bro. Goodbye, Flight.
Rigged game, you got all momentum off bad calls, bro.
10 bands, bro. Ew. Sheesh. You can beat me.
Let's game, fight!
Oh, shit!
If I replay that, bro, we'll see a slap line.
Hey!
Hello, man. Yeah! Come on!
Relax.
MTCB.
What? Like, what up?
Fucking talk about nigga, they gon' whack. I'm green, green, green. Fucking talk about it.
MTCB.
CashNasty and FlightReacts. 2 of the most popular personalities on YouTube. Their entertainment values alone are high on the spectrum, but anytime they collab, it destroys the spectrum. We all love watching Cash and Flight go back and forth on reaction videos, but without a doubt, their most popular collabs are their basketball 1v1s. Starting all the way back in 2016, Cash and Flight have faced off every year for a total of 9 times, and all of these 1v1s combined have surpassed over 11 million views. Anytime these two face off in basketball, it's not just a video, it's an event that the community looks forward to every year, an event that is guaranteed to go viral. Now it's no secret to anyone that Cash has won all 9 times these two have faced off. Flight has beaten a handful of opponents, but 9 games against Cash and Flight hasn't beaten him once. One could say that Cash is to Flight as Kryptonite is to Superman. The Kryptonite is going to win every time. However, Flight has been steadily improving his game over the past couple years, and I think eventually, Flight can beat Cash and make history. The only thing is we have no idea when that's going to happen. But in this video, we are taking a look back at every single 1v1 that Cash and Flight have played, and we're going to break down what happened in each one. And this wouldn't be a Maddox video without some stats. So after we recap, we'll take a look at Cash and Flight's shooting numbers in their series, and we also got their shot charts. So let's go ahead and begin with the 1v1 that started it all. This was uploaded on September 8th, 2016. This game provided us with a hilariously funny moment in these two's saga, where Flight throws his shirt on the court and claims that the section of the court behind his shirt is out of bounds. Now there are 2 things that make this even funnier than what it was. First is that the shirt was placed inside the arc, so this essentially removed the ability to shoot corner threes. Second is that Flight on his very next possession forgot about the rule and went past his shirt, which made him out of bounds. But the good thing for Flight is that Cash let him get the ball anyways, and they just ended up scrapping that t-shirt rule. But this game was entertaining from start to finish. We got to see just how bad Flight really was at basketball, and it was hilarious watching him score and then watching him act like he won the lottery. You could tell that Cash was just having fun with this game, the way he was dribbling around Flight and talking to the camera. The final score of this game was 12-3, and because of how much attention this video got, we knew that this wouldn't be the last time we'd see these two check up. Fast forward almost an entire year later, on September 2nd, 2017, these two would face off again at a 2K18 event. Nothing too crazy happened in this one, except there was a funny moment when Flight shot a 3 and it hit the ceiling. But yeah, pretty straightforward game. Cash ended up winning 13-3 and Flight went down to 2-0 in the series. The next game Cash and Flight played took place the following year on October 26, 2018. And this one is arguably the most famous 1v1 they've played. You see, Cash and Flight were going back and forth the whole year through YouTube videos and Twitter. They both had 1v1s against Bone Collector that year. Cash didn't score in his game, but Flight did, and he made sure to rub that in Cash's face.
Flight on site next time, bro. We playing 1v1. I'm gonna have one hand tied behind my back.
Bro, that's 11-0. That's gonna be my first shutout game.
You see, Cash was trying to make a statement that he is so much better than Flight at basketball, so he decided to play him with one hand tied behind his back. And what made this even more interesting is that in the middle of the year, Flight gave Cash the title of Trash Nasty, and he started calling him that in most of his videos. So Cash and Flight made a deal that if Flight lost this game, he would be banned from calling Cash Trash Nasty ever again. So the stage was set, the stakes were high, and to no one's surprise, Flight found a way to lose this game. The final score was 5-2, and Flight couldn't keep his word for more than a day, because on his next upload, he said this.
I'm still calling him Trash Nasty, bro. Looking back at this game, he didn't deserve to win.
Now obviously, this made Cash very upset, and the community knew that this rivalry was far from over. Fast forward another year to August 5th, 2019, these two would face off for the 4th time at Venice Beach. To this day, this is the most controversial 1v1 that Cash and Flight have played, because technically, it never ended. So at the start of the video, they agreed to play to 7 all once. But the problem was that in the middle of the video, they did a score check and agreed that the score was tied 6-6, when it actually was 5-4, Cash being up. I'm not sure how they got the score that wrong in their heads, but it happens. Anyways, after that, Cash hit a layup, and they both thought that he won, when in actuality the score was supposed to be 6-4, and the game should have kept going. And when Flight found out about this in his reaction video, well, that's one of his funniest moments.
Trash, nigga. I thought the game was the 7. I thought the game was the 7. He cheated, bro. Rematch.
So if we're being technical, the game never ended, but it was entertaining nevertheless. I mean, Cash was out there playing very physical defense and fouling nearly every time that Flight had the ball. The wind was so bad it was making Flight's airballs look even worse than usual, and the energy of the fans around the court made this feel like an event. The next game they played happened the following year on June 30th, 2020. Now this was probably their most anticipated rematch to date, not only because of the controversy of their game the year prior, but also because this was the first time Cash would play what is known as June Flight. So this was the year of June Flight's debut. He played a ton of 1v1s that month after training and improving. And this game against Cash was known as the June finale, and it did not disappoint. Both guys made some nice shots, there was some good defense being played, a few disagreements on foul calls, but after all that, Flight ended up getting killed and Cash had a convincing win, which stopped all the momentum that June Flight had. The final score was 15-4. Fast forward a little over a year to August 6, 2021, Cash and Flight had their 6th 1v1. This one doesn't have a lot of drama like the previous games, they pretty much just got to the point. There was one time in this game where Flight said Cash stepped out of bounds, but on the replay it looked kinda questionable, and then a few possessions later, Cash tried to finesse and call a travel on Flight because it looked like he dribbled the ball one time after the checkup and then dribbled again, which I thought was a funny moment. Unfortunately, Cash didn't get the ball after, but he tried. But yeah, other than those two moments, this was a pretty straightforward game, and Cash won with the final score being 12-4. Their next game was the following year on June 30th, 2022, and because of Flight saying that all Cash does is foul on defense, Cash finally got tired of it and decided to hire a referee for this game. The goal of that was so Flight wouldn't be able to use that excuse anymore, and ironically, Flight was the one who did all the fouling in this game. Now to be fair, a couple of calls that Cash got were very questionable, but Flight definitely fouled him a few times, and he was for sure the one who fouled the most out of the two. But the game resulted in another blowout of 11-1. But after Cash hit the game winner, Flight gave us another one of his famous moments. He kicked the ball as hard as he could, and it went over the fence of Jesser's house. And then he decided he wanted to extend the game to 15, so they had to get another ball. So they resumed play, and Flight didn't score a point this whole extended period, and Cash ended up winning a whopping 16-1. Cash's shot was just hitting that day, as he made 7 3-pointers in the game. And fun fact, this is actually the most threes that Cash has made in a game against Flight. This game was, and still is, the biggest blowout of their series. It was not a good day for Flight. The following year and a couple months ago, Cash and Flight had their 8th 1v1 on April 5th, 2023. And this one was interesting because at the beginning of the video, Cash agreed to give Flight $10,000 if he beat him. But even with $10,000 on the line, Flight was only able to score 1 point. So Cash lit it up from deep, and he was also playing some suffocating defense. So another tough game for Flight, and the final score was 11-1. Now the last 1v1 that they've played up until this point was a couple months after the last one. Just the other day it took place on June 29th, 2023, and this game was without a doubt one of Flight's best performances of all time. The game was actually neck and neck all the way through, and Flight even found himself up 7-5 at halftime. So Cash decided to drive the entire second half, and unfortunately there wasn't much Flight could do about it. So the final score ended up being 11-10, and Flight was so close to making history, all he needed was one more shot to go his way. However, I think this 1v1 will also end up being controversial because Cash definitely traveled before he made one of his baskets, so I guess you could say the score is still tied at 10? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. So that is all the 1v1s that Cash and Flight have played since 2016. Now let's move on to their shooting numbers. Yo, what's good everybody? This is current day Maddox. I'm editing the video right now. I just wanted to come in and say this real quick. Shout out to Flight for this entire past month of June. Obviously he's gotten better, and we got to show the man hella respect for the time and effort that he's been putting in. These numbers and shot chart that you're about to see do not reflect the current Flight that we know, because I ain't gonna lie, they ain't pretty. So just giving y'all that disclaimer. Once again, shout out to Flight. We know you've gotten better. So just a quick disclaimer, all of the numbers that you're about to see include all of Cash and Flight's games, except for the game in 2018 where Cash played with one hand. I didn't include either of their shooting numbers for that game in these calculations, just to keep it fair. So here we go, we're going to start off with Cash. In these 8 games, Cash put up an average of 20 shots a game and made 8.3 of them. He also put up an average of nearly 11 threes a game and made nearly 4 of them, and he averaged 12 points a game. So let's break this down a little more and then talk about it. In these 8 games, Cash put up a complete total of 159 shots and made 66 of them, which gives him a field goal percentage of 41.5. And out of those 159 shots, 86 of them were 3-pointers, and Cash made 30 of them, which gives him a 3-point percentage of 35. So if you ask me, these numbers are pretty decent for 1v1s. You might be saying, wow, Cash shot a lot of threes. Well, yes he did. In fact, just over half of his shot attempts were 3-pointers, 54% of them to be exact. And that's probably the reason his field goal percentage isn't as high as it could be, but again, it's decent. Alright, now let's move on to Flight's numbers. So in these 8 games, Flight put up an average of 17.5 shots a game and made 2.5 of them. He also put up an average of nearly 10 threes a game and only made 1.3 of them. And he also only averaged damn near 4 points a game. So if you're comparing the shot attempts of these two, you can see that they're fairly similar. The big difference is in the shot makes, and you can see that Flight's is significantly lower than Cash's. This isn't going to be pretty, but let's break this down some more. So in these 8 games, Flight put up a complete total of 141 shots and only made 20 of them, which gives him a field goal percentage of 14. And out of those 141 shots, 67 of them were 3-pointers, that's about 45% of his shot attempts, and Flight only made 10 of them, which gives him a 3-point percentage of 15. So if you've been watching Cash and Flight's 1v1s from 2016 to I'd say about 2021, Flight's numbers shouldn't be a surprise to you. Those first few games in their series are a big reason why his numbers are, well, terrible. Also, here is a list of stats for Cash and Flight series. There is a link to this chart in the description if you want to take a better look at it. Alright, so we looked at their shooting numbers. Let's move on to the final part of the video and take a look at their shot charts. So we're going to start off with Cash's shot chart. Every shot that he's taken in this series with Flight is on this chart. And keep in mind the game where he played with one hand is not on here, and the same goes for Flight's chart. So here on Cash's chart there are 66 makes and 93 misses. And real quick, I wanted to mention a couple things I noticed while looking over his chart. Obviously Cash loves that top of the key spot, and nearly half of his total shot attempts were taken from this area. Because Flight isn't the best at contesting jump shots, you can tell that Cash tried to take advantage of shooting the ball after the check this whole series. Another thing I wanted to point out was how efficient Cash was around the rim when he decided to drive. Obviously there's a huge weight advantage for Cash, and when he 100% needed a bucket, he took it to the hole. Now let's move on to Flight's shot charts. On his there are 20 makes and 121 misses. Once again, the game where Cash played with one hand isn't on here, so there's also some things I noticed looking at Flight's charts, first being the insane amount of 3-point attempts all around the arc. Again, Flight has a 3-point percentage of 15 in his games against Cash, and this chart really puts that into perspective. The second thing I noticed is the abundance of shots taken near that right low block area. And you probably guessed it, but most of these shots are Flight's famous running hooks that he likes to do. These would be more efficient shots if Flight just used a softer touch, and that's something he can develop if he just works on it. And the last thing I noticed is that Flight rarely goes left. You can see there are clearly not as many shots taken on this side. Now this is bad for Flight because all a defender has to do to stop him guaranteed is force him left. If Flight can develop the ability to go left and right, he'd be a bigger threat on the offensive end. So we recapped all 9 games in Cash and Flight series. I'm looking forward to seeing these two guys play against each other for many years to come. And hey, maybe 10 years from now I'll make an updated video. Shout out to Cash and Flight for being 2 of the best entertainers on this platform. It's very impressive that they've been able to do it for this long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.